Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me. And if you're new here, please consider commenting and subscribing if you're interested in Star Wars collectibles, in particular helmets and lightsabers. Today we're going to be taking a look at a slightly older one. It is the Scout Trooper helmet that was released by Hasbro as part of the Black series back in 2023. Beautiful helmet. As part of the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. Originally released for about $140 in the US and weirdly enough £140 in the UK. It's a great helmet. If you're interested in it now, if in the US, if you go through Hasbro Pulse, you can actually still pick it up for about $99 with free shipping. And in the UK, you're probably going to have to go through somewhere like Amazon, where it's actually on sale at the moment for £121, down from $140. And if you're happy to, on eBay, you can pick one up from about £90 to £110, depending on condition. Reviews are very, very strong. They're about 4.8 out of 5, with a lot of people saying just how good the build quality is, the accuracy to the actual films, and the value for money. Of course, primarily iconic for Endor and the Return of the Jedi, but of course also more recently these guys have shown up in The Mandalorian alongside Grogu, which has renewed some interest in the helmet in particular. And it's one of these ones that when people come over always point out. It's actually a really significant helmet for myself, as this was the first helmet I ever actually got, bought for me very kindly by my wife with absolutely no idea what she was starting. Now, surrounded on every side by the things, but this is what began the madness. It's got a bunch of features to it, but the absolute main one and iconic one is this opening faceplate, which works on a ratchet, which allows you to actually open it in stages, allowing you to either wear or display it open or closed, both of which I think we'll agree it looks great in. It does come with what they're now iconic voice changing, which to this day is not great, but back then I think it might have been even worse, and we'll try that out in a minute, but it's definitely one of the weak points of these helmets. It's got a really nice weight to it. It does not feel like a toy. It feels like a solid collectible or even a solid reproduction, but for a very reasonable price. It's particularly heavy when you've got it open. Fantastic paintwork, as you can see there. Decals, none of which are stickers. They're all very solidly on there and not going anywhere, adding to the overall quality feel of the product. Perhaps some sort of weathering would have been nice, because it does look a bit like you're the Scout Trooper on your very first day, but you could do it yourself. It's got some fantastic internal detail, as a lot of these helmets have. There you can see the details of pseudo electronics as part of it. And then at that top part there, they do give you a pad that allows you to make it much more comfortable. And it is actually an incredibly comfortable helmet to wear if you're the sort of person that wants to wear it to some sort of cosplay. But I think I mainly just like it for decoration purposes. To get to the voice thing, it will actually come, and there is an access panel at the back here. Accessible via a switch that you just simply push to one side in order to pop this section off to expose the battery casing. You will need a Phillips screwdriver in order to put it in there, but once it's in there, it's in there. So let's try it on. Can be a little bit tricky to put on, particularly these sharp sections at the edge here can get you in the side of the head, and I've known people to say they actually have problems wearing it, but once it's on, it's really on there, and then you can put it down. And I think we can agree that that just looks excellent. What I'll do is I'll put a comparison of it against a picture from the movie, and we can have a look at just how accurate that is. But it feels like a quality product. You can activate that voice changing via a very simple button positioned just below the chin, just there, and you'll hear that that turns on, and that will activate the voice changing. But I think we can all agree that that doesn't really sound like a stormtrooper. It just sounds distorted. So a lot of people cite this as probably the weakest part of the helmet, but it doesn't really retract away from it being an excellent display thing. It has a really, so if we want to talk about pros and cons, oh dear, it is really solid. It feels quality. It does not feel like a toy. It feels like I've spent hundreds of pounds on it where in fact I have not. The level of detail both inside and out is fantastic. Movie quality for a budget price. You can display it opened or closed, which is totally unique to this helmet, with almost every other helmet having nowhere near that level of feature. It's incredibly comfortable. If I wanted to wear it to a cosplay or convention, I could very comfortably wear that all day, and I know a lot of people will say to me just how good it is. The cons are really going to surround that voice changing feature, but quite frankly, who cares? Who needs it? The padding, which is held in place by Velcro at the very top of the helmet, does have a habit of falling out. In fact, mine has multiple times. It's still comfortable without it, but it is a bit hard on the top of your head. There is also, and I think the only weakness of it looking at in terms of its look is this very plasticky front vent just there, which I think is the only part of the helmet, perhaps other than this element here, which seems to be molded but not seen all the way through to being, it's asymmetric. I think it's probably the only bit of it that shows any cheapness, with more expensive ones apparently having vents in here, but I don't think that really adds anything. Ultimately, should you still buy this in 2026? I think so. It's great quality, it's screen accurate, which is what most of us are looking for in display pieces, and it's a very reasonable price. But if you want to have some fun, you can take it off, you can wear it, it's going to be comfortable, and it's going to be the sort of thing people comment on as you're wandering around. I would say that the pros very much outweigh the cons, and that this is one of the strongest helmets that Hasbro had ever produced, actually. So, and I think that if you're interested in, you could and for the price, not really for a problem, buy it and weather it yourself to really sort of create some interesting effects in colors and stories that you can build around it yourself. So I really think that it's worth it. Maybe wait for a sale. It's been around for a long time. It could well be on sale, but just keep an eye on it. But I think it makes it a fantastic addition to anyone's collection. So thanks very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you have liked this, then please like, comment, and subscribe in order to know when new videos drop. But thank you very much. All the best.